have 5 minutes with Liam and Isack.
How was
And
the initial meeting with Zhou?
when you go and visit each of these teams, they all have a certain energy to them. And Ferrari
Is
was
your like
just
biggest,
so Italian.
oh my gosh, moment?
Definitely the podium celebration when we were standing in that square was...
Okay, we have to start with Austin because your week was insane. We need to start with the line dancing moment. How did that go down?
So the line dancing with the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls team was so surreal. I had reached out to all the teams in advance of Austin, you know, asking if I could have time with anyone on the team so that we could like create, you know, content and coverage for Milkshake. And Racing Bulls like responded and they were like, okay, you can have 5 minutes with Liam and Isack.
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes. And I was thinking, what can I do in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Like normally, you know, we would do an interview, I'd prep questions, but you need at least like 10 minutes to get through like intros and like some feeling each other out and like get into the meat of it.
Is
So-
this 5 minutes like including like you just saying hi and like nice to meet
Yes,
you?
like
Oh.
and like literally our time slot was like 1:10 to 1:15 p.m., which we can talk about this later about how these teams operate. I had no idea that everyone lived in 5-minute increments. It was crazy. But yeah, we show up at 1:10. I mean, even to like back up before that, I was like, hey, what am I going to do with 5 minutes? That's going to be engaging and can create content around it. And then obviously because we're in Texas and you know, obviously country music, Austin, I thought that the perfect thing to do was a line dance. And like, I don't line dance. Like, I mean, it's not like I'm a professional line dancer. I don't line dance in general.
Yeah.
So then I did literally like YouTube a basic line dance that I could actually do and thought it would be fun to film a video like teaching them how to line dance because I doubt they line dance in their spare time. And
I
then-
mean, maybe Liam does.
yeah, maybe Liam. And then they agreed. So we showed up and they were actually filming with another content creator when we first arrived. And we weren't sure where we are going to do it. In the way that the hospitality suite is laid out, there's like the front entrance has like a patio where, you know, you can have coffee and kind of chill. Then there's kind of like a team lunchroom. And then upstairs in the hospitality suites is where like the team works. So there's all these like little offices, and I'm sure that's where Liam Isack's, you know, like personal room is to get ready and stretch and do physio and all that stuff. And then on the back side of the hospitality suite, there's like a back patio, which kind of overlooked the parking lot, and it was a bit quieter. And so we filmed back there. But yeah, the 5 minutes included getting organized, getting up there.
Weren't they late?
Yeah, they were late because they were filming
With
the
another
other content creator.
So did your time run longer? Because if they're filming in like 5 minute increments, I'm assuming like every 5 minutes they have a plan with someone else.
Like, no, like we just had the 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
so Dylan like set up and we had like 2 cameras. He held one and we had one on a tripod. And yeah, so Isack shows up first and I was like, where's Liam? And then maybe I was like, oh, maybe Liam's still busy because he was the one filming the content with the other person.
Right.
Maybe I'm just going to do this line dance with Isack, you know, whatever. I just kind of like moved on because I only have 5 minutes. I can't like process and think and like plan for every
Right.
situation. So then I start teaching Isack how to line dance, and he was like not into it in the beginning. He was like line dancing, but then he kind of like got into it. Then Liam showed up, then had to start over again with Liam, and then we start doing it. It's also like crazy windy back there, and I was worried about my outfit, and like I was like, we're gonna have like an accident here with the filming, and so
Yeah.
like managing all of it.
Didn't you say that there were like 20 people watching you?
Yeah, so like after we started getting into it, the team started showing up. So they had all of their comms people. I don't know who else was there. Comms people, photographers, videographers, because they had their own like equipment as well.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, Dylan was telling me how stressful it was for him because he's trying to get the shot and like maneuver around all these people. It's not like a massive space where, you know, like there was the railing and then the entrance and like that was it. That was probably like, I want to say 8 feet wide. Like it wasn't a huge space.
Yeah.
But yeah, the line dancing was hilarious. The guys were not getting it. And then I was like, okay, should I just show this to you? And then you can copy me. And they're like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And it was just like so funny, but they were such a good sport about it. And
I feel like they actually did pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Like by the end, like they actually got it down.
And like Isack like was just busting it out on the side afterwards. After our time had finished, and they were just kind of just chatting. I was talking to Liam, and then Isack behind me was just like busting it out. It was really cute. And then the team told me afterwards that, at the beginning of the day, Isack was like, "Oh, I don't want to wear this belt buckle, these boots. I just like, this isn't my vibe." But
Yeah.
after the line dance, he was like bought in.
He got in the rhythm.
He did.
I think that like, I think sometimes it takes like an interactive, like something interactive to like really get the energy up, because for 5 minutes, like, what are you going to sit down and talk to them for 5 minutes? Like about what? Like you got to do something fun and like something
Exactly.
that's like kind of out there that maybe someone else is not going to do.
Yeah.
Who was better?
So I thought that Liam was going to be better because I've seen that him and his girlfriend Hannah have gone to country music festivals and have been in an environment where there is line dancing. So I thought he would be better, but Isack honestly crushed it. He was so good, and at the end he was just like busting it out on his own. And then the V Carb team, like some of the comms girls, just came up and they wanted to do it too.
Yeah.
So it was really cute. And yeah, like that team has a really, really awesome vibe. Like, they're having fun, they're laughing. It's like not so serious, but obviously they take racing very seriously.
Yeah.
But like the whole like team, it was like really, really fun. And it was like, I'm happy that I did it with them because they made me feel comfortable in like a high pressure situation where
It's definitely
I
a high pressure situation.
never met any of these people before.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were such a good sport and they were really, really cute and fun.
I mean, you went to Austin with maybe 20 things on your to-do list and you held it together. You kept it together the whole time. You started at Tecovas, didn't you? And that like got your outfit for the week.
Yeah, so Tecovas is a partner of CODA, Circuit of the Americas, and I didn't know that they had been working with them for so many years, but every year they have been gifting the drivers and teams their cowboy gear. So like I think the hat, the buckle, belt buckle, and the boots were all gifted from Tecovas to like Liam and Isack. And then I went to their store on the Wednesday to also get boots and a hat, and it was such a fun experience. Like the Tecovas brand, I wasn't so familiar with it before this whole experience. Like I had heard of it before, but I just never really I don't know, I never shopped the brand, but it was so, so cute. Like the store, I didn't know they sold clothes. I thought it was just boots, but they had accessories.
Like jeans, jackets.
Oh,
right?
yeah, like full on apparel. And like it smells so good when you walk in, like that smell of leather.
Yeah.
And this girl that was helping me, she was like, "Yeah, my whole house smells like this." I'm like, "Oh, that's so nice."
Yeah.
It just feels like a warm hug when you walk in, like the smell kind of comes around you.
Yeah.
And everyone is so friendly. They work with a really famous Austin artist that did their like a mural on the wall and they had a bunch of rugs.
I saw that in your video.
So there was a bunch of art in there, and like the boots themselves were so nice. There were some crazy ones with like snake skin and other ostrich feathers and like crazy ones that probably not like the first boot that you would buy. But they have this like 200-step process to make a cowboy boot in Leon, Mexico, and it's 200 steps because they're like pre worn in, so they're not so stiff. And I didn't know this about cowboy boots. Like I've had cowboy boots in the past where the heel is like so stiff.
It's so stiff.
But these ones, she's like, it should feel like a flip flop. And so my foot actually, like not like a flip flop where it feels like it's coming off, but your heel should lift.
Right.
And then as a result, like I didn't have a single blister. I walked 50 kilometers in these boots over like 5 days, which is, I don't know how many, 20 something mile, like a lot.
Yeah.
And I was actually really worried about it because I don't know if I'm going to survive and doing this much walking in these things.
Especially with like a new boot. Like I always feel like every time you get like a new pair of shoes, it's 50-50. 50-50 if you can walk in them.
Right. I feel like it's more like 80-20, only 20% that you can walk in like
true.
a new pair. And it has a little bit of a heel.
Yeah.
Like, so I was a little bit worried about that too. Like, could I survive so many days in these boots? But yeah, I'm like a converted like brand follower. Like they are amazing. And the people who work there are so passionate and they love the brand. One guy who works there has 39 pairs.
Wow.
I was like, wow. oh, do you own anything else?
Yeah.
Like,
It's just boots.
yeah.
His whole closet.
Yeah. And you can customize the boots too. They had a branding station where
Yeah.
you could pick cute little, like, symbols. So I have a little star on
Yeah.
mine. You can get a cowboy hat. You can get like a horseshoe. And they literally brand them into the boot. And then they tell me when I come home, I can paint them. So I might paint
Oh,
my little star
cute.
white so it stands out a bit more on my boot.
Cute. I love that.
And they can also do the brand on your hat too. So you
Yeah.
want your initials on the hat. And then there are other ways to dress the hat up that you can put like lace ribbons on it. And so
Mm.
it was just like the cutest experience.
Yeah. No, I love that. You said that they gift to every team. It's interesting that they gift every team because you did that video where you went around and you asked girls like who was like best dressed from the Austin race. And obviously like Liam had like a great outfit, or like Lewis had a good outfit on the horse. I think it was with plus 44.
Yes.
But a lot of them like don't dress up.
Yeah, I think a lot of them make an effort to wear denim.
Yeah.
Like I saw a lot of denim. Lando had these amazing jeans. I don't know where they're from. I'm gonna have to look them up, but they kind of had a design. They looked like chaps. They were like really, really nice. Like the denim looked amazing. And then Pepe Jeans is a Red Bull sponsor, and I noticed on race day, every Red Bull team member had a like a custom pair of Pepe jeans with Red Bull on the back. But what I thought was cute was each team member could pick the fit of jean they liked the best. So some girls were wearing wide leg, or they were wearing boot cut, the guys, or they were wearing straight leg or flare. And so I thought it was really cute that Pepe Jeans did that. Not only did everyone wear branded Red Bull jeans, but it was something that they felt comfortable in that
Yeah.
suited their body.
Yeah.
And I think that the denim looks that Liam and Isack wore were probably Pepe jeans, but they just looked really, really good. They looked
Yeah,
good
they
in
did.
denim.
They did look good. They did. They really fit like the Austin vibe.
Yeah. I do think Pierre, so he wore like that fringe jacket.
Yeah.
And he was the only one I saw that wore fringe. Like I saw a lot of denim, but the fringe is like a really cute look.
The fringe is really giving like cowboy.
Yeah.
So I think his outfit was good.
Yeah.
You did so many interviews, I feel. Let's start from the beginning. How was the initial meeting with Zhou?
He was really, really sweet. Ferrari, it's also like when you go and visit each of these teams, they all have a certain energy to them. And Ferrari was just so Italian. Like they immediately was like, "Do you want an espresso?" was the first question we
Yeah.
got. And we were like, "Sure, we'd love an espresso." Didn't end up drinking the espresso because we did the interview. And then she was like, "Oh, we gotta get a new one because you can't have like a 15-minute cold espresso."
Yeah.
But yeah, Joe was awesome. He was so down to earth. And I mean, everyone we met was like so down to earth and normal, which, sometimes you don't know when you're meeting someone so famous and, they talk to so many people. You don't know what their personality and their energy is going to be like. But he was super down to earth. I would totally hang out with him. We started the conversation with like music because he loves Jay Chou, which if you don't know who Jay Chou is, he's like the Beyonce of pop music in China. He's like an OG massive pop star. And Jay's a huge fan. And I saw that he like sang at
Yeah.
Jay's concert in Shanghai.
Which is crazy.
Crazy. And so I asked him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, it was a total surprise. I got told that I was going to be doing this 20 minutes before, so it wasn't planned." And
And he can sing.
he rapped to
Yeah.
this song, but he said that the earpiece that they give him, wasn't working, so he couldn't hear any of the music because it was so loud with the crowd around him. And so he had no idea if he was like on beat, if he was like syncing with like what Jay was doing, but it like all worked out.
Yeah.
And yeah, then we kind of transitioned and talked about him growing up in Shanghai, what the karting scene was like when he moved to Europe at a really young age. I think he said he was like 12 or somewhere between 12 and 16. He didn't know a single word of English. He was living in like not in London where it's like, super cosmopolitan diverse. He was like in a place that was a little bit more in the outskirts.
Yeah.
And he said it was a really tough time in his life, like fitting in, like just, it's so different, British culture and like, Chinese culture.
Yeah.
But he said what really helped was the people there were super kind, and it also just allowed him to really focus on the racing. He said it was a tough time in his childhood. Like if you think back when we were in grade 6, grade 7, your friends are everything.
Yeah.
And so I can I can only imagine how hard it was for him, but then he persevered and look where he is now.
I mean, I feel like the career of like a racing driver is so unique because you do start so young, and if you have potential or if like people see potential in you, you are kind of like taken from like a normal kid situation, kind of like acting in a way, like child actors.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think back to like when I was a kid, and I don't even know how you navigate something like that as like at such a young age. So yeah, his story is crazy.
And it was like his story about how he moved away. He started karting where he was originally from, then had to move somewhere because he won everything essentially in Shanghai. So you have to move somewhere where it's more competitive so you can be with other kids to like develop. It was the same kind of story with all the drivers I talked to. So with Pato Award, with the Red Bull girls, they all had the same story around they grew up in places where they started karting at their local tracks. They won everything, and so then had to move somewhere to then, be in a place where there's more leagues and more, racing drivers to compete with. So it was like similar but different because they're all doing it in different places.
Yeah.
But the journey was the same.
But is London kind of like the main hub for karting?
Well, I think the UK is where most of the F1 teams are based out of, and then all of those like minor leagues, F2, F3, F4, Janetta Juniors, like all those racing series, they've just been around for so much longer in the UK. And so I think they're just the most established.
True.
And if you really want to make it, most people land there at some point to see if they are like competitive enough to then, move forward and move up.
Yeah, true. I mean, even you met with Emily, and I know that collab is like just so special to you. You love Hello Kitty. How did that go?
Yeah, Emily was, so cool to meet. She has 2 very, very big jobs. Like she's the chief commercial officer of F1, and she's also the CEO and president of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. We spent our time mainly talking about the collabs because she's responsible for, identifying partners, like working with them to see if they're fit, and then obviously like the product strategy and the merch strategy, and she's like the mastermind behind all of it.
Yeah.
And she is a powerhouse lady. It was probably the most efficient interview that I had because she is just so eloquent and doesn't mince words. So it was just like really easy to just like kind of like.
She knows what she's saying and she's ready.
Exactly. But, you can totally feel the passion that she has for F1. And she's just like constantly thinking outside the box. Like today, the Vegas Grand Prix just announced another collab with Disney. And because she mentioned in our chat that there were a few things she couldn't talk about yet. And one of them, I think, is this Disney announcement.
Yeah.
It's not like clear exactly how Disney is going to be involved in the Vegas race, but I don't know, how are they going to ever top this race? There's Hello Kitty, there's Disney, there's Lego, there's Babe, there's Malbon, there's the Vegas Golden Knights. Like, I mean, crazy.
I think Cadillac is a sponsor of Disney or something, because at Disney there's like this, I don't know, fast track ride or whatever, and I'm pretty sure it's Cadillac.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
It might be. I could be totally wrong, but I'm almost positive.
I wouldn't be surprised for sure. Yeah, she, one of the things that surprised me about our conversation was like they have this concept of the F1 hub, which I think to like someone that's just walking into an F1 hub, it's a store. It's like a retail experience where you can go and buy merch, but they're taking this and like supercharging it in Vegas, where she said it is a retail experience, but really the idea behind the F1 hub is to bring together a sense of community and around a specific race. So yes, like it's not just whatever F1 merch. It's like merch that is limited edition to this particular race, all the brands that we just talked about. It's a way for us to collaborate with local artists and music and to kind of bring our community together around a specific race. And we're just kind of hosting it in a place called F1 Hub, but it's this pop-up series that they want to do at multiple races. So I thought that was really cool. And yeah, I mean, Hello Kitty, I honestly everything, but Hello Kitty, there's a dog range that's coming out. Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm assuming it
doesn't even have a dog, but like I'll get a dog for this reason.
Exactly. Harness, like, obviously sweaters, There's gonna be a Hello Kitty cafe in Vegas. I just like have to go to all of this
Yeah.
and like obviously get a lot of merch. But I'm also a massive Bape fan,
Yes.
and they did a collab with Bape, I think in 2019 in Shanghai, where they had a like a like a car, like an F1 car in like the Bape camo. It was more like a show car
Yeah.
that they had. But now they're taking it to the next level and actually making merch. And they're also dropping a custom bear brick.
And you have a whole collection of
Yes,
bear
I
bricks.
have, I don't know how many we have, 10. So I got to get one of those. I originally wasn't going to check a bag to Vegas, but now I think I have to check a bag
Yeah.
because there's like almost too much stuff to buy.
Yeah, you're gonna be coming home with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy how many, like, you think of F1 just as like the race and the sport, but there's so many like external things surrounding it that are going on, like different collabs, or like you said that they move in like 5-minute intervals. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, that was probably my biggest eye opener in Austin. Like everything was crazy overwhelming, but I think what I have like a new appreciation for is how these teams operate. The comms people at the team. So these are the people where when you're watching a post race interview in the media pen, they're always like the girl or the guy with like their phone like this, like, you know, Lewis is talking and they're like recording it to like listen to afterwards, and they're responsible for each of the drivers' schedule to get them from like point A to point B, but they're also like the face for all the partners and creators and anyone who wants to collaborate with them, and they're responsible for making sure that what you want to do with them is on brand. So doing all the approvals for the questions and the styles of content. They do all the scheduling. They have to make sure that they literally physically bring their driver, whoever it is that they're taking care of, from like point A to point B. And I saw like a printout of this Excel that they had, that like this grid was like crazy and it was totally color coded and literally living in 5-minute increments. Like the Liam and Isack time was scheduled from 1:10 to 1:15. I had another interview from 12:40 to 12:55. Like so specific.
It's wild.
I thought it was a typo. I was like, did you mean 12:30? But no, they're like, no, it's 12:40. It's 1:10. And they're just like the way that they execute like all these, and a lot of them were girls, which was awesome. I got to hang out and meet all these, you know, awesome like comms girls, but they are so detail oriented. It's like running a wedding every single weekend in a new venue, but the location is like 10 to 50 times bigger than a normal wedding.
It makes you wonder like how you are able to be in a job like that long term. Like, is this just like a period of your life where you're like, okay, I have no friends, I have no relationship, this is my life for the next 2 years, and then like the goal is something else? Because I find it hard to believe that like you could do a job like that forever.
It's a good point. And it's funny you bring that up because a conversation I had with one of the comms girls was, she had said, no, I'm so grateful that there's so many opportunities in F1 nowadays, because we kind of talked about, if you want to start a family,
Yeah.
you can have a baby and,
No.
and travel like this and like live like
Oh my
that.
gosh, like I don't even know if you sleep. Like I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I forgot to pencil in that
Right.
the time change. Like,
Yeah. And that's the other thing, the time change. You know, I'm pretty good with the time difference, but I almost missed the Emily interview because I had it in at Eastern time instead of Central time, and then we had to like run and get over that. All worked out, but it was just
Yeah.
like the whole thing is just stressful. There's so many details to think about.
it's like actually wild. So you met Lando's dad. What was that like?
Yeah, it was
This is like your dream.
I know. So it was the cutest interaction. We were standing by kind of the media pen area right after sprint quali. And in sprint quali, there was that accident with Lando, Oscar, and Fernando. And I didn't know this, but where we were standing was where the flatbed trucks were bringing the cars back after the accident. And so he was just standing there. And so I went up and just introduced myself, and he was wearing his 2 different colored
But you had
lucky shoes.
messaged him before, so did he know?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I had messaged him to chat with him in Montreal. It just didn't work out. It was too busy. And he totally remembered who I was. And we just had like a really normal conversation about the accident, whether we thought Lando's car was going to be too damaged for the actual race. And it was like a totally normal conversation. And then Lando's car comes in on the flatbed and he goes, "My son's car is here. Gotta go, guys." And he like goes over because he wants to inspect it. It was just like the cutest normal interaction. The one thing I forgot to ask him or didn't have time for was he was wearing his two different colored lucky shoes, the yellow and the green shoe. So when I meet him next time, I need to get the full story on the different colored shoes.
Yeah, I love that. Did you meet Lando?
No, like not like I didn't go up and say hi to him,
But you saw him.
oh yeah, multiple times because he was in like the press conference.
Your phone is like
Yeah.
filming everything.
Yeah, I saw him multiple times and I don't know, all of their energy is so great. You know, yeah, Max really
You said that Max surprised you.
he did. So, you know, I feel like when you watch Max on TV and in interviews, he kind of has this aloof kind of vibe where, and he does like, he gives back like snarky one word answers to, you know, journalists and like, I, that like perception of him, you know, is the complete opposite of what he's like in real life. So we were sitting in Red Bull Hospitality waiting to start our interview with Alicia and Chloe from F1 Academy. And it was lunchtime. And so we were sitting inside and all the Red Bull staff were having lunch. Max walks in. He literally says hi to everyone. And you can just like feel the team's love for him, his love for them. He like makes eye contact with everyone, says hello. And there's just like so much respect. And it just changed my mind about him because it was like this really nice, caring side to Max where you like don't see that in like a press conference.
Yeah.
But you know what? I love the guy now because, you know, he just doesn't like stupid questions and doesn't
I mean,
like
fair.
yeah, and doesn't like all these like what if questions that journalists are asking him about, you know, if like A, B, C, D factors in a situation happen, do you think this could be? He's like, well, it didn't happen like that. So why are we even talking about it? So
Yeah.
I totally get like why he's like that now in interviews. And he's like, you know, the best driver. So he's constantly getting questions and he just wants to drive. He just wants
Yeah.
to have fun. He wants to drive. He wants to win. He wants to work with his team. And he's just like a normal guy.
Yeah, like he just wants to do his job
Yeah.
and like doesn't want to do all this like side stuff.
Exactly.
Which, you know what? Fair.
Right. I at the post race press conference, he had obviously won the Austin race, and they were all leaving, and his comms person Anna, she's the one that we had worked with, and she was so sweet. Like, you know, we should talk about how amazing these comms girls are. And I was walking beside her, and I said congratulations to her because Red Bull had won. And Max responded to me and was like, "Thank you." And I was like, I was like shocked. Like, oh my gosh, I wasn't actually directing at you, but yeah, I guess you were the person who won.
I guess you won.
Yeah.
But she won too.
Yeah. So yeah, it was great.
You met Carlos, right?
I did. So the day that we arrived on Wednesday, Williams hosted a really cool livery unveiling. So for those that don't know, at certain races of the year, different teams will either like work with an artist to create a custom livery, or they'll do a throwback and have a custom livery inspired by a previous car. And so in Austin, Williams did a livery unveiling with a nod to the 2002 car that Juan Pablo Montoya drove when it was the Williams BMW team. And they hosted this really cool ranch. It was called Lone Star Ranch. And there was archery, there was axe throwing, there was cattle. I don't know what it's called, cattle roping.
Yeah.
And there was like a barbecue, there was music, and then they did this like panel with Carlos, Juan Pablo, and the Atlassian CEO, which is like their major sponsor. And Carlos's vibe is exactly.
Carlos is exactly how you would expect.
Yeah, exactly. He is like goofy, doesn't know that he's being funny, but he's like really funny. And just like his facial expressions are just like hilarious.
Yeah.
And yeah, also like really down to earth. But he came and did the panel, then he left because their schedules are literally booked in like 5-minute increments. But it was really cool. It was really nice.
That is crazy. I feel like you just even just seeing all these people from a distance, not even a distance, from like 3 feet away is just, it's crazy. What was your like biggest like, oh my gosh moment?
Definitely the podium celebration when we were standing in that square was the biggest pinch me moment. it was just so surreal to be there when, they put like the stanchions of 1, 2, and 3 when they win. You always see that on TV.
Yeah.
And then to see them like pulling up right in front of you, taking their helmet off, like everything you see on TV, they're like right there. And then to see Martin Brundle interview them on track right there. And then to see the trophy presentation and the champagne and the confetti, like all of that was crazy. And I don't know how this happened, but I ended up standing beside Charles Leclerc's like mechanics.
Yeah.
And so usually all the teams line up around, and then the driver will come out of the car and run over to their team and like hug and whatever.
Yeah.
And I ended up standing beside like Charles's engineer. So Charles came up because he came in P3, I think, that race.
Yeah.
But they were super nice, very Italian. Got a photo with them.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was just like so surreal.
That's crazy. I mean, were you able to film that?
No.
You could take a photo though.
Yeah. Nothing can be filmed, period, essentially.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on like your accreditation, but I wasn't able to film. I took, photos. It was still, that was probably the only moment the entire weekend I felt like I was living it and enjoying it, because I felt the previous days when we were there,
You were like
working, and also the other thing is, I think one thing I would do different moving forward was it's so stressful, the logistics around a race, like even figuring out where to park, how to get from parking lot A, B, C, D, E, F, G to the paddock, because it's like a massive venue. There's not like multiple entrances everywhere. And so that's why you're walking so much. And then on top of that, it's like 40 degrees.
Yeah.
It was so hot. So like your stress level when you enter the paddock is like at 10,000. And so I felt like I wasn't enjoying it. Like I was enjoying it, but I wasn't like there on vacation.
Well, no, because I think also it was like your first race as like a brand that like you're going to represent like your full blown brand that is like actually doing well. And I think that's like a lot of pressure to be able to, I have all these opportunities now and I have to meet with all these people. So like I need to be put together every single hour of the day. So I think like by the end of it, you were like, okay, this is like my last thing. Like I can just like enjoy this.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously shout out to motorsport.com that got us the access to begin with. And we were doing work with them. And you're right, like it's like the first big race that we've gone to, and there is a responsibility to deliver great content. And on top of that, you're given 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 11 minutes. And so it was just like a high pressure situation to deliver. And there's only ever one take. You don't have time to do 2 takes. It's just one shot. And that's
One
it.
shot.
It was so hot that my phone overheated and stopped recording. And so like,
It's
like
just a shit show.
things like that, where how do you plan for something like that?
You don't.
Yeah. And so you just got to roll with it.
Yeah, you just got to roll with it.
Yeah.
I mean, moving into the next race, like last thoughts, what are some things that you're going to take away from Austin and you're going to maybe like keep doing it or like change up what you're doing?
I would love to try and enjoy it more. Like, yes, I looked super happy, in all of everything that we did, which I was, but like inside, I was like this, like thinking about like I was just constantly thinking ahead versus like maybe staying more in the moment, because there's just so much happening. So what I want to do in the next race is actually spend the day before the race going to the freaking track, figuring out where to walk, where to like just get all that done, because so much stress is just getting there.
Yeah.
So then if I can eliminate all of that stress, then I can be, more present when I'm there to actually do it. And yeah, my goal is to just try and like be more present and like soak it all in as it's happening, because it was just like so overwhelming. And on top of that, like I wasn't feeling well, and it was just like a lot, but
It's a lot.
made it work.
It's like very overwhelming.
Yeah.
But you did it.
Yeah.
Let's break down some of the events. You went to an Elemis event. I personally love Elemis. It's like one of my favorite skincare brands. How was that?
It was incredible. So one thing I also knew happened around races, but didn't realize like the intensity around races, was the number of events that are happening off track every single day. We were doing like 3 events a night. So we were
Yeah.
doing like 20 minutes an event because you had to, then they weren't in the same place. So you had to like leave the event, go to the next one. But the Elemis event was hosted at this really beautiful property. It was a hotel. And
It looked stunning.
oh, it was like this Spanish colonial vibe. And it was held in like their back patio. And you first show up, and I swear the valet guy asked me if I wanted a bump. And he was like, but have a bump the Elemis way. And I was like, oh, and it was a skincare bump. And
Oh.
so, like, it was a lotion bump. So he had, like, one of their, I think it was, I don't know if it was the day cream or the night cream. It seemed like the night cream was a very thick cream. And he had, like, a little, like, popsicle stick and, like, gave
Wait,
me.
that's funny.
I know. And I remember being like, oh, I mean, this is fantastic. You know, Austin's a very dry place. I'm like, I need some hydration in my hands. Like,
Yeah.
they look like prunes right now.
Yeah.
Dylan got one, but his skin wasn't absorbing it, so his hands were like insanely oily. But that was just like a funny thing for him. But so we were greeted with that, and it was like a really like kind of like just a fun thing that happened.
Yeah.
And then you walk around to the back, and it was this beautiful property with like fountains and these really pretty grounds. And obviously they had a bar, and the drinks were, normally I find a lot of cocktails really sweet.
Yeah.
But the Elemis cocktails were refreshing.
They knew what they were doing.
It 100% matched like literally their products.
Yeah.
And they had drinks named after their products. And
Yeah.
it was just like the branding was perfect.
Did you get a little gift bag?
They ran out at the end, but I ended up getting something from Aston Martin when I did that interview with Jess Hawkins, who's the Elemis brand ambassador. But it was really cool. And I got to meet Amy Mansell, who's the head of the Elemis F1 Aston Martin relationship, and it was cool to meet her. And we'll be interviewing her next week,
That's
actually,
awesome.
to learn more about the partnership. But yeah, it was like awesome to meet a bunch of different girls. They had a lot of like, beauty creators there, obviously. And it was just like a really stunning event. But that was just like one of many. We went to our friend Michelet's event where she was like co-hosting this panel with Boardroom and IBM, and she was interviewing the New York Liberty girls, like two girls, Brianna Stewart and Natasha Cloud. I have a girl crush on Natasha Cloud. She's just like so freaking cool. The whole thing was just really cool.
Yeah.
I've been to, a lot of tech events before. And oftentimes, I feel like they're really trying to be cool.
Yeah.
And this was the first one that was like actually cool. Like it felt, we were talking about fandom and, being an athlete and how data helps you and how data helps them connect deeply with their fans. And it just felt really natural. The vibe was awesome. The venue was incredible. So yeah, that was one event we went to. We went to a motorsport event with Minnie in a converted parking lot. It was like this parking lot turned speakeasy, and it was super cool, the space. I don't know what candles they had in there. Like the one thing that really stuck with me is how it smelled on the inside. I think I have a thing with scents.
Yeah.
But
Tecovas.
right. Yeah. So I need to ask Motorsport, what was the candles they were using there? Because I needed it for my house. It was so nice. And I'm trying to think, there was like an Aston Martin event we went to. It was just like a blur.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot.
It's like so hard to soak in. And
You
then
went to a McLaren event, didn't you?
Yes. They did an arts meets music meets motorsport event at this cool kind of like warehouse space in downtown Austin. And Zach, Lando, Oscar came up at separate times and spoke about their partnerships with Dell and Google. And that one was also like, obviously tech with racing. And like I learned, like one thing that stuck out to me there was Oscar said that they don't do track walks anymore, which I find it crazy because
Because of like AI and stuff.
yeah, and like there's just so much data that they're seeing in front of a computer that you just like don't see when you're walking the track. And it's crazy because before in like the Michael Schumacher days, like track walks was the way that they like analyzed how they were gonna like drive. And now it's like obsolete essentially. They had this really cool virtual pit stop where you put on these like virtual reality goggles, and honestly you don't know where you are. You're like literally in this like game that you're in, and you forget that you're in this room with like 1,000 people watching you. But it was crazy. Like you put it on, you could see the car coming in, you could feel like taking the car off with the wheel gun. I did so bad. I did like a 10-second pit stop, which would be like automatic fail. Like automatic fail, but it was still fun.
But you did it.
Yeah, I still did it.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
What was the funniest moment from the weekend?
Well, obviously the line dance was fun and funny, but really stressful. But I think the most like candid funny moment of the weekend was I was in this like there's an area of the paddock where you could watch the race. Like there was like kind of picnic bench seating and there was like a bar with food and stuff. And so people who were in the paddock working could kind of like stop there and watch the race. They had TVs. And I was just standing there and I was some other creators actually that had just met before. And this guy was kind of like hovering near us. And I don't know, I didn't really think anything about it, but then he came over and he tried to introduce himself. And we spent 5 minutes talking about what his name was. I just like could not get it. I was like, Vern? And it was like loud too.
Yeah.
And he was like, Vern. And I was like, and then I didn't, and I was like, can you spell it for me? And he's
I'd
like,
be like, you know what?
yeah.
I think I got it.
Yeah, I know, but then I felt bad to like not like to pretend that I knew what his name was, and he was like, "It's like Warner Brothers without the A," and I was like, "What? I don't get it." And anyways, he's like, "I am the head of Motorsport," and so he was the CEO of Motorsport.com. Werner is his name, and it was just so embarrassing because obviously I was there with Motorsport to cover it, and I didn't know who he was. And I spent 5 minutes asking about his name. I asked him to spell his name. It was so embarrassing, but it was honestly so great to meet him.
Yeah.
He was such a big supporter of what we do. He like loves the fun and playful and like lifestyle content and wants to do more together. And I'm just so happy that he took the time to come and say hi to me and like introduce himself because he told me, he's like, yeah, I recognized you from the line dancing.
He's like lurking in the shadows.
Yeah. But it was just such a funny interaction. And then I also because when I saw him, I said, hey, I haven't actually met anyone from Motorsport yet. And is there anyone else here? And he was like, yes, there's this gentleman named James Allen. Do you know who he is? And I was like, that name does sound really familiar, but I couldn't quite place it. Turns out James Allen is the head of Autosport, which is the sister company of Motorsport, and also a like super famous like journalist and presenter.
Like I know who James Allen is.
Yeah, from like I'm not sure when, maybe in like the 2000s, he was on air a lot. Like my dad knows exactly who he is and like is a huge fan. And so we go back. He introduces himself to me and he's talking about how he runs a podcast. I'm like, oh, do you have a podcast? And Werner's like, yeah, no, this is our podcast. And I didn't know that Autosport had a big podcast with James, which I probably should have. And I just asked him, do you want to be on our podcast, The Sweet Take? And he was like, yeah, I'd love to. And so it was just like really nice.
Sometimes I think maybe not knowing actually gets you further because you're not like overthinking what you're saying.
That's true. Yeah, I was just really honest and genuine about the situation. But yeah, it was so great to meet both of them. They were such sweet people, and I'm just glad he came up and introduced himself. But yeah, it was super embarrassing. I actually still got his name wrong because then we
you're saying bye?
Well, no, he gave me his like what we did like the when you bump your phones and you can get someone's contact, but it wasn't working, so we had to do it in WhatsApp. So anyways, long story short, I finally have it. Werner, I see you. Can't wait to talk to you again. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you liked that recap of the Austin Grand Prix. I'm sure I missed a bunch of things, but hope to do this again. Make sure you subscribe to hear more behind the scenes stories, and we'll be back with other topics later on.